knew something terrifying was coming, and they were powerless to stop it. Among the most affected was Mzee Kalisa, an old man respected for his wisdom. But the forest's awakening had shattered his composure. He began to speak of terrifying visions. Faces, pale and contorted, flickered at the edge of his sight. He saw them in the firelight, in the shadows of his own hut. These were not mere dreams, they were waking nightmares. He claimed they were spirits from Nyirakanyinya trying to communicate. But it was the voice that tormented him most, a whisper, cold and insidious. It started faintly, just as he drifted off to sleep. At first he thought it was the wind, but it grew clearer, more distinct. It called his name. Kalisa, it would hiss, a sound like dry leaves skittering across barren ground. The voice promised secrets, ancient knowledge hidden deep within the forest. It beckoned him, told him he was chosen. His family grew increasingly worried. They saw the fear etched on his face. They heard his tormented cries in the night. He would thrash in his sleep, muttering incoherently. They tried to comfort him with herbal remedies and prayers, but nothing seemed to work. The visions persisted. The voice grew louder, more demanding. It was as if a piece of the forest itself had lodged in his mind, slowly poisoning his sanity. Mzee Kalisa became a shadow of his former self. His eyes, once bright with life, were now hollow. The villagers whispered amongst themselves. Some said he was cursed. The forest was claiming him, one terrifying vision at a time. Sleep became an enemy to Mzee Kalisa. He dreaded the nights. He knew that as soon as darkness fell, the visions would return. The whispers would intensify, coiling around his thoughts. He would lie awake for hours, staring into the oppressive blackness of his hut. Every creak, every distant animal cry sounded like a prelude to some fresh horror. His body ached with exhaustion. His mind reeled from the constant barrage of fear. He was a prisoner of his own consciousness. He tried everything to stay awake, but inevitably, fatigue would claim him. And then the voice would come. Kalisa, come to us. Nyirakanyinya awaits. It was no longer just a whisper, it was a command, a relentless, irresistible pull. He felt it in his very core. Despite the paralyzing fear, an undeniable curiosity began to bloom within him. He needed to understand. He needed to know what lay behind those terrifying visions. One moonless night, the pull became too strong to resist. He rose from his mat, his movements slow, almost trance-like. He didn't tell his family. He stepped out of his hut and into the suffocating darkness. He was going back. The morning after Mzee Kalisa vanished into Nyirakanyinya Forest, a new wave of unease washed over the village. His empty hut stood as a stark testament to the forest's insidious power. Fear, once a simmering undercurrent, now boiled to the surface. One of their own had been taken, or had he gone willingly? The question hung heavy in the air. The forest's influence was spreading. Strange occurrences began to plague the village. Objects moved on their own. Doors creaked open and slammed shut in empty huts. Cold spots appeared suddenly, chilling people to the bone. The comforting sounds of village life were replaced by an eerie quiet. Whispers seemed to emanate from the shadows, mimicking the voices of lost loved ones. The livestock became agitated beyond reason. Goats bleated incessantly. Chickens refused to lay eggs. The village dogs cowered and whimpered, refusing to venture out after dark. The natural order was being disrupted. Food stores began to spoil at an unnatural rate. The villagers grew gaunt, their faces etched with worry and hunger. The forest was not just taking their people, it was taking their sustenance, their security, their sanity. The shadow of Nyirakanyinya was consuming the village. Days turned into a week, and Mzee Kalisa did not return. A small, brave search party was organized. They knew the risks. Armed with machetes and prayers, they set out. They called his name, their voices swallowed by the oppressive silence of the ancient trees. They didn't find Mzee Kalisa, but near a gnarled, ancient fig tree, they found something, his small, woven bag. It lay on the damp earth, seemingly untouched. Inside, they found his water skin, still half full, and the piece of dried meat, uneaten. This was not the bag of someone who had simply gotten lost. This felt intentional, a message. The most chilling discovery was his worn book of village lore. It was open, lying beside the bag. A single page was marked with a crude circle drawn in what looked like dried mud. The circle encompassed a single unfamiliar word scrawled hastily in the margin. Listen, just that one word. Listen to what? The whispers? The silence? The ambiguity was terrifying. The search party returned to the village, their faces grim. The word listen echoed in their minds, a chilling refrain. The forest had spoken, and its message was terrifyingly unclear. The discovery of Mzee Kalisa's bag and his cryptic message was the final blow. The unsettling signs in the village escalated dramatically. Shadows danced with more malevolence. The disembodied whispers became more frequent, more personal. Unexplained illnesses swept through the remaining inhabitants. It felt as if the very air they breathed was poisoned by Nyirakanyinya dark energy. The forest was actively driving them out. One by one, then family by family, the villagers began to leave. They packed what little they could carry, their faces masks of despair. They abandoned their homes, their fields, the graves of their ancestors. The fear of Nyirakanyinya had become greater than their connection to their land. They knew that to stay meant certain doom. The village, once vibrant with life, began to empty. Soon only the wind whispered through the deserted huts. Nyirakanyinya Forest stood silent, victorious. What malevolent force truly resided within its ancient depths? Had Mzee Kalisa found the answers he sought, or had he simply become another whisper in the eternal haunting chorus of the woods? The story of Nyirakanyinya and its vanished village became a chilling legend, a cautionary tale of a place where the veil between worlds is not just thin, but torn. And some say, on quiet nights, if you listen carefully, you can still hear them, the whispers.